All right, are we going to check in with Gage now at this point? Okay, we're going to head over to Matagorda Bay. This is an area that is expected to get hit real hard by Beryl as it makes its way onto landfall here. So Gage is inside of a home. This is typically a home where families live, and many are staying. They're sticking it out just like you guys are, Gage. So what have you seen in the last maybe 20 minutes since we've talked to you?
Yeah, I'd say in the last 20 minutes, I'm joined by photojournalist Oscar Chavez, who's been doing remarkable work, as all of our photojournalists have, the hardworking team behind the lens of the camera, just working nonstop through these conditions. Last 20 minutes, I think the most surprising thing was we just took a look at the road outside Beach Drive, and unfortunately our truck outside, and I'm not sure if that is going to be drivable tomorrow. That's a tomorrow issue, but this storm surge, how quick it came up was kind of surprising. And we were just talking from our sister station, KSAT in San Antonio. They have a team out here. They managed to and made the decision, for their own safety to go ahead and retreat back to higher ground as the storm surge came in. But even they remarked how quickly it came in. I mean, to me, that was surprising. It was 1 minute it wasn't, 1 minute it wasn't.
Well, we kept checking the road, and I remember, I gotta say, probably 10 minutes intervals. We were going, check, and nothing on the street, nothing on the street. And then from one to the next check, it was like the truck was nearly, well, not flooded, but it was covered already. I was surrounded by water.
Yeah, and it's hard to see because the truck is parked, out this window behind us, but that's the wind. That's the window where all the wind is coming. That's, from the east, and that's where all that force is coming. So, admittedly, we haven't gone down there for obvious reasons. It's simply not safe. But for as much as we can see, it doesn't look like a good situation. And for what it's worth, this is the locals. There's a couple that was pulling out right next to us as we were pulling in, and they said, "This is, hey, you should be good. This is the higher part of the island." So there's that. So, or I shouldn't say island, but of the road.
Which to say, it was a little comforting to hear that.
Sure, and it's, my next point, I guess it's comforting whenever they tell you, and I lived in Florida before I moved here to Houston, and I've been through hurricanes. I think there's number 7 tropical system covering, is what we did the math on the drive from Port Lavaca today. But it's never comforting whenever the whole building starts shaking.
No, well, you compared it to being on a boat.
Yeah.
And I made the comment growing up in California that it felt like an earthquake, but like in slower motion. So it was like, it's still the same kind of rocking back and forth, but it really felt like an earthquake, but slow. Like if you had played it in slow motion, that rocking back up was similar to a boat as well. But that's just, being that I lived through earthquakes, that is what clicked.
And it's weird though, because and I keep going back to this because we had this conversation, the both of us, because we got here and we looked at it, we evaluated it, had this conversation with Anthony Yanes before we were committed to stay here. Is it safe? And it's like, these buildings are designed to move, and it's like, what? They're designed to move, and it doesn't make sense. But they're designed to ebb and flow. But it's not a comforting feeling when you're walking around and things are shaking. We showed that to you a little bit ago.
There was a moment. I mean, we felt this. You felt it first since the beginning, but there was a moment in the last half hour or so where it really, really rocked. Like, I think that was the hardest. Like, it was right after it hit the 100. Or the 93 something miles per hour. That when it really rocked.
And he's talking about this anemometer. I think Michelle was talking about this earlier. It's a little device that measures wind speed. And outside, we caught a gust at 93.9, and then ran it again, and it actually maxed out the anemometer. So that's obviously indicative of very high wind gust out here in Matagorda. And if you're not familiar with the area, there's the Colorado River on one side, and there's the bay on the other side, and at the end there's the Gulf of Mexico. So you're talking about a little tiny strip of land. There's not a whole lot of land to go through. But one thing Anthony was saying is just any minute now, we should be, getting into the eye. Can you hear it? Because it doesn't. It's still just roaring. I don't want to say it's ramping up because I feel like it's like a smidge, just one hair below. But it certainly isn't. It isn't peaceful and serene to go take a walk outside.
Well, and being the person behind the lens, I gotta say it's a different thing to actually get your sight out of the camera and look down and see the water like really coming through, coming under the house and just coming out the other. It's a different. It's kind of like the whole, comforting feel when you're on that behind the lens, and then you take your eyes out of the camera, and then like, oh wait a minute, this is for real. It's just like
it's a surreal thing.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the scary thing, is because going back to how quickly the storm surge can rise is, the roads are built up, to fend off the water, so the everyday rainstorm won't flood out the roads. But when that water pushes up and over and over and over, it builds up, and as soon as it crests that road, it's game over. I mean, you could be trying to evacuate in that moment and be stuck halfway out, or almost to the finish line, if you will, to get out. And those things, it can happen so quick. So I think the biggest surprise is how quickly it came up and just how forceful this wind has been. This is for people watching at home, it's a new-ish construction built in 2017. It's very beautiful home, very nice home. We're very thankful for the opportunity to stay here, and it's been holding up well. The only issue is a little leak on the window that's been getting battered with 100+ mile-an-hour winds. So
and we didn't lose power until what, maybe
I think 1:30.
Something like that. Yeah,
it was 1:30, because I was shocked at how long. But those are just some of our takeaways as we inch closer to being in this eye, which is always an incredible experience, and I can't wait to bring that to you here live whenever we can just walk out and be in that moment of almost pure serene if the eye passes over Matagorda. We'll send it back to you.
Gage and Oscar, my hat's off to you, because I would not be as calm and composed as the two of you are, really painting the picture for our viewers, walking us through each and every moment. I can see you guys swaying back and forth too physically when you're talking about the home moving and ebbing and flowing, but it is really comforting to know that other families are there as well. They say that this is what the home is built for. So we are with you in spirit and appreciate your hard work, and we'll see you in about 10 more minutes, because we're going to be going wall to wall here at 2:30. So